Turkey Day!
Happy Turkey Day!
Oh, happy Turkey Day, everybody. You know, Turkey Day 2023 is coming real soon as we record this, and we thought we'd celebrate by watching some of the bumpers from the first few Turkey Days back in the early 90s.
Back when Turkey Day was a brand new thing and started a tradition that hadn't existed before. And I don't know, since has probably been a tradition for you, Chris, every time Turkey Day was available.
Yeah, well, I mean, there were many years where they didn't have any official Turkey Day marathons.
Did you do an unofficial one of your own during those years?
Sometimes I did, for sure. I didn't always do it, but sometimes I did. I certainly had some of the traditional Turkey Day songs stuck in my head, which we'll talk about in a moment.
Yes, agreed.
But usually nowadays, they've been doing a few of them online for the last 10 years or so. And often what I'll do is I'll poke my head in, make sure everything's going okay. But then I'll wait till some nice soul compiles a collection of all the little bumpers and interstitial bits that they do. And I'll just watch that and binge it all so that I can enjoy everything.
It is really hard to imagine being awake for 30 hours and watching a continuous stream of media, right? Like, I don't think there's anything that I could possibly watch for 30 hours, but MST3K comes real close.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So Turkey Day 1991 was the very first Turkey Day, and I watched it at the time and, in fact, taped almost all of it.
Nice.
I missed a few episodes because you had to switch tapes around. And I thought, well, if I'm strategic, I can switch tapes around. You get 3 episodes on a tape if you're using the bad quality long play or extended long play, whatever it was called back in the day on the VHS tapes. Yeah, I'm so old. Anyway.
Oh my gosh, you are so old. I just want to pinch your cheeks. It's adorable.
Oh, good luck getting traction on those tusks. Anyways. So I would tape 3 movies on one of the tapes, and then I'd have an episode to switch it out, and then I'd do the next ones, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Had they released what movies they were going to do beforehand for any of these Turkey Days so that you knew, like, okay, this is like, I'd rather get these 2 episodes and miss the 3rd episode so that I can record the ones that come after it? Or was it a surprise every time?
I don't remember in 91 if it was like in the TV guide, if they listed every episode or so forth. Certainly, like, you couldn't just go onto the internet and find out, or at least I couldn't.
Oh my gosh. The TV guide. Listeners, for you who are less than, there used to be this publication that you could buy at the store or have mailed to your home that would show you what was on TV for the entire week, and you would plan your life around it.
Yeah, it was fun to read. We'll have to talk about that someday.
Someday.
But okay, here's what I want to say about Turkey Day 91. Is that I had already at that time been recording MST3K occasionally, but I would just do it to watch the episodes when I couldn't catch them, just to make sure I'd seen them, you know?
So you, amongst all of the people in the world who never knew how to work their VCR, you had figured it out and could put in a tape and have it pre-record something? And it would work?
It's not hard. They were not that hard.
I mean, it's still a running joke when people talk about the 70s and 80s and 90s about, like, well, I don't know if we'll be able to figure out our VCR, you know, like cell phones for grandparents are the new programming your VCR. So
yeah, well, I was a nerd.
Yep,
I did not have any problem doing that. It was perfectly fine and good. But I couldn't afford tapes. I was a teenager and didn't have any real income stream.
Fair.
So I would just tape over them. Turkey Day, marathons coming. I go out, I buy a bunch of tapes, I tape them, and I'm like, great. I've now got like a dozen episodes of MST3K. I am set for life. This is all the MST3K I'll ever need.
These are their best episodes, surely.
Well, it was at the time, yeah.
Yes, yeah. Catalina Caper, first Turkey Day, and that is amongst your favorite to this day, Chris.
Exactly. So there's a certain sense where if, you know, at the end of season 3, the show had ended and I only had those 12 episodes to sustain me for a while, I would have still been pretty happy with it.
Yeah. That's good to know. And you would have had all of these awesome in-between episode bits that they did.
Yeah. Now, because a lot of your early MST3K viewing happened through my videotape collection back in the day, you've probably seen at least some of these bits before, even if you didn't get to watch Turkey Day 1991 in 1991.
And I have to say, like, I do not remember if I watched Turkey Day 91 live in 91, but I knew the MST3K Thanksgiving hymn before I ever met you. But they replayed it, right, in years that came afterwards. So I'm not sure if I was inundated with it in 91 and then watched some of the Turkey Day marathon. I think we've talked about on prior episodes, my family was a football watching family. And so there was no commandeering the television to be able to watch MST3K. I had to wait until the people who had the power and wanted to watch football were done watching football, which meant every single game on the planet needed to be done before I got to see anything. And as anybody who follows football knows, like, the games are never done. They last forever. There's 5 minutes left in the game, but it takes another hour of television time for those 5 minutes to be played. It's really frustrating. And that's almost an exaggeration, but it kind of isn't.
You were a one TV household or one cable box household or something?
We were a one TV household, and most of my family was also a one TV household. For certainly in 91, that was the case. And most of the time on Thanksgiving wasn't the holiday that my family hosted. It was one of the holidays where we went over to my aunt's house or my uncle's house or something like that, right? Christmas Eve was the holiday that we hosted because it also happens to be my father's birthday. So, you know, all the holidays kind of rotated amongst the family. So I was also at the mercy of being in somebody else's house.
Right.
So, you know, like, I may be pushy, but I'm not so pushy that I could go over to somebody else's house and commandeer their television, you know?
You're no Jack Perkins.
Apparently, I'm no Jack Perkins.
So, right, that is the plot of this first Turkey Day, the host segment, so to speak, which take place in Deep 13. Dr. Forrester is planning on broadcasting 30 hours of MST3K to melt people's minds and rule the world, where Frank has invited everybody over for a Thanksgiving party and really wishes that Dr. F would join them, but he doesn't.
He sets up the table like 10 feet away. I mean, I have to say, I'm sort of with Dr. F on this, like, oh, when Frank's like, everybody asked about you, I'm like, I was right there. I was right there. Come on.
He's being a little passive aggressive.
It's true. It's true. Both of them are, actually.
I do like the idea of, like, oh, yeah, you don't want to join us for the nice holiday dinner? We're going to have it right next to you.
It's so true.
And so we get a lot of the guests that had made appearances on the show at this point. We get Jack Perkins, played, of course, by Mike. We've got Plant Guy, played by Kevin. And we've got Jerry and Sylvia showing up.
Yes. The mole people? The mole people?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Did they ever actually buy Tupperware from Frank later? I mean, I know that they are at the Tupperware party later on, but they don't seem to interact much. I'm not sure if they bought any.
The Tupperware party is from Catalina Caper, isn't it? And they bring their soil in a big bucket. So, no, they never did buy the Tupperware.
Man, that would have been super fun. Super fun if they brought their soil in little Tupperware containers.
What did you think of this little plot?
It was lots of fun. Okay, so one of the things that I was really, really just pleased about was the late night Dr. F, like, putting everything in, and like Frank in the background's walking around in his like robe, and he locks the door, and then he comes over and he kisses Dr. F on the head, and he says, I locked up, I'm going to bed. And Dr. F's like, how can I take over the world when everybody's just seen my love? It was so adorable. It is the strongest argument to them being a couple, I think, that I've ever seen.
It is very sweet.
It's so sweet. I mean, even Dr. F's like, oh, I'm a little embarrassed that happened, but oh, it's so cute. Yeah, anyway, I'm sorry. I enjoyed that quite a bit. And then at the end, after, Dr. F and TV's Frank have been a little passive aggressive about not taking part in each other's things, at the end when Dr. F and TV's Frank are just like, oh, I don't know, no, I really admire you. No, you did this like amazing thing today. No, Frank, you like really put this whole thing together. You're the best. No, also a good like argument for them being a couple. They're so cute.
It's super sweet.
Yeah.
The other thing I enjoy amongst the guests, I mean, I always love to see Jerry and Sylvia there. They're great. Plant Guy is perfectly fine, but of course, Jack Perkins is astonishing,
Yes.
coming in full bore and then just getting more and more unhinged as the night goes on and the brandy gets in him.
Oh my goodness, yes. He's so much fun. I don't remember, maybe you wrote this down already, but I don't remember what episode he's originally introduced in.
He's originally from Fugitive Alien.
Oh, okay.
And of course, he would later go on to host the MST3K Hour version of the show, and they split it up into an hour. So there's lots of great Perkins introductions because the Mike Nelson Jack Perkins character is phenomenal and took on a life of its own.
It very much is. I mean, I'm sure like it was not even a contentious choice when they were like, all right, well, when we're inviting people to Thanksgiving for these segments, like which one of the many characters that Mike has played will be coming to Thanksgiving? Like, I doubt that there was even a second choice, you know, like they were just like, oh no, it has to be Jack. There's no question.
One of the little jokes that I appreciated, and I never fully twigged onto it until this time. Not that I've watched these bumpers that often in the last 10 or 15 years.
Sure.
But is when Jack Perkins arrives, he's brought Dr. F yams personally prepared by Karen Finley.
Yes.
Which is a joke I get because we researched it for this show. But do you remember what that's a reference to?
I don't know.
So Karen Finley is a performance artist, one of the performance artists that got sort of...
Oh my God, she's the one who put it in her hoo-ha.
Yep.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
Whoa. No wonder why Dr. F was like, yay. Oh, wow. Yes, just as soon as you said performance artist and yams, that all came together for me. Wow.
Oh, and it's such a quick joke. He says it so under his breath. It's perfect.
Oh my God. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think the mom of one of the people in my like middle school class was named Karen and had the last name Finley. And now I can't even imagine if she ever knew of this performance artist. And if she knew, like, how did she downplay it amongst her friends so that she wasn't known as like the yam hoo-ha lady, you know? Anyway, I'm sorry. So that's hysterical. I didn't even pick up on that, Chris. I'm so glad that you picked up on that because it's hilarious.
I loved it.
Oh, yes.
In addition to the plot with Dr. Forrester and TV's Frank and all of their guests, we also get a bunch of little bumpers that were obviously recorded one after the other in quick succession on the Satellite of Love on the bridge with Crow dressed up as a turkey, Tom as a pilgrim, GPC as like a Quaker for some reason, and Joel dressed up as Joel.
Yeah. Well,
what are you going to do?
No, what are you going to do? He has to be, the human who consumes Turkey Day food. So he has all of the tips for the cooking.
And these bumpers, again, were on the copies of these episodes that I watched the most, right?
Mm-hmm.
Any one of these episodes is one of the most seen by me episodes of MST3K because that's all I had for a while. And I would watch these tapes again and again and again. So these bumpers are part of MST3K for me. They are all major nostalgia hits.
Oh, yeah. Well, and they used them in the subsequent years. So
that too.
Even if you hadn't had them on tape for these, you would have seen them again and again and again because they used them. But so you remember all of your turkey facts? You know the temperature that a turkey is supposed to be cooked to?
But yeah, I turkey fact number 12. If you leave turkeys out in the rain, they'll drown.
They're all turkey fact number 12.
It's so good. It's so good.
It's true. Actually, I had forgotten all of the other turkey fact number 12s. The only one I remembered was if you leave them out in the rain, they'll drown. That one is very, very memorable.
Okay, here's the thing that I found out by watching this, which is, again, a weird way to watch this content all in a row, binging it, but that's okay. There was one that I didn't know.
What? The electric fence?
No, it's the one about if you do a stutter count, turkeys are likely to jump offside, which must have been shown during one of the episodes I didn't tape.
Oh.
So this is like 30-something years later, there's a little 30-something years later, there's like a little present for me in terms of one of these sweet, sweet turkey fact numbers 12 that I hadn't encountered before. It was such a gift.
Oh, Chris, look at that. MST3K just keeps giving on the holidays for you. It's fantastic.
There's one other thing that I feel like I need to point out. They make several references to being all tripped up on L-tryptophan, etc. Knock you on your sorry Thanksgiving ass and all that great stuff. So L-tryptophan is an amino acid that's found in food with proteins, and it was a rumor that turkey contained a lot of it, and that would make you sleepy because it's a precursor to melatonin. But it doesn't make you sleepy. It doesn't boost melatonin production. And also, turkey isn't especially full of it. It has as much as any other fowl does.
Wow. So is that something that we found out later or was publicized later? Or would that have been a thing that they knew in 91 and were playing with inside of these bumpers?
I think we may have found that out later or confirmed it later, but I'm not 100% sure on that timing. But it was a common thing. Like, I knew the joke. I knew what they were referring to at the time. I didn't necessarily know what tryptophan was, or tryptophan, however they're saying it. But
no, but that thought that you eat turkey and it makes you sleepy, that was totally a thing that people said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, just because you ate your body weight in food and that made you sleepy, no, that can't be what it is. It has to be one specific food. So, you could just avoid the turkey and stay awake for hours.
Now, the other thing in this is that you mentioned that when you watch these again, that you recognize the "we gather together to watch cheesy movies." Now, do you know the original hymn?
I don't. Not well, if I have ever heard it at all.
I don't remember knowing it at the time, but my mother knew it when I would sing it.
Well, that makes sense. Your mom was in a church choir.
Well, exactly. And then later on, I did hear them play it once at church, which is wild.
Could you even hear the words that they were saying without hearing the Turkey Day Marathon words instead?
No, of course not, because also the words are super important. We gather together to ask the Lord's blessing. He chastens and hastens his will to make known. The wicked oppressing now cease from distressing. Sing praises to his name. He forgets not his own. Like, okay, it's a Thanksgiving hymn. Those are okay lyrics, but not as good as the Rise version.
Please, the MST3K update, way better.
Yeah,
definitely a chart-topping hit.
Well, and originally a Dutch hymn.
What?
Written in 1597, Wilt het nu treden, which is a song about beating the Spanish forces.
Oh, good. It's a Thanksgiving Day victory song, because...
Yeah, and also because we gather together because under the Spanish rulership, under Catholic rulership, the Dutch Protestants weren't able to assemble and do their religious service, apparently. So that's part of what their version of the gathering together is.
Oh.
There you go. There you go. I like the Turkey Day version more.
Yeah, but that thought of we actually get to gather together and celebrate the way we want to celebrate, that's actually, that's hitting me as a little meaningful this holiday season. I'm glad that we get to celebrate Turkey Day together instead of, the Lord's blessing and everything. But, turkey's just good.
That's also the meaning in the MST3K version of the song. We are gathering together to do this thing that brings us joy and happiness and togetherness. And isn't that lovely, even if not everybody wants to do it? It's
very true. And, good thing Comedy Central was allowing everybody to gather together. So...
Anyway, Turkey Day 91 is my favorite of the turkey days for these bumpers, partially because I just have seen them so much, and they're so tied up with my growing familiar with and growing in love with this show. So,
and it's a wonderful use of GPC too. Boo. Boo.
Or whatever she says in that moment, there is much debate.
I feel like I'm going to go on the record. I think she says boo like it's Halloween and she doesn't know what holiday it is.
Exactly. Though there are also some people who argue that she's saying go, as in it's your go, as in say the line already. But I think boo makes more sense. It's more fun, but whatever. People can disagree.
It's true. We can all agree to disagree and eat our turkey and fall asleep to the drug that doesn't put you to sleep.
Is there anything else you want to say about Turkey Day 91 before we move on to the next year?
This is one of the Turkey Day marathons that did not premiere an episode, right?
Yeah, and it's not like they didn't have an episode at the ready. I mean, a few days after the marathon, they'd show War of the Colossal Beasts for the first time. So there you go.
Yeah. Although I have to say 30 hours is a lot. And where do you put the premiere in all of that?
Well, so they did decide to premiere not one, but 2 episodes for Turkey Day 92, which began and ended, kind of, with new episodes.
Ooh, which ones were the ones in 92? Remind me.
92 started with the Beatniks and ended with Fire Maidens of Outer Space. And the gimmick in 92 was that Frank was forced to eat a turkey, an entire turkey, for each episode they showed, and most of the turkeys were themed towards that episode. So the Beatniks turkey had a little soul patch on it.
And the Master Ninja had the ninja stars.
Exactly.
And the Gila monster was not a turkey, but a thing.
It had an entire large Gila monster stuck inside of it, yes.
Totally. And then there was a space one where it came in pouches rather than as a turkey.
Space travelers.
And that way you got more than just the turkey. Oh my gosh. And he had to have like pureed organs. I have to say, I appreciate that Joel gave us permission not to eat organ meats this holiday.
Well, there you go.
Mm-hmm. It's important. Everybody, you have permission not to eat the organ meats this holiday season. Unless it's your thing, in which case you can have mine.
Yeah. I mean, I'm certainly not eating them, but yeah. This was a fun gimmick. I really liked Frank's arc through it.
Oh, absolutely. Frank's arc is my arc on Thanksgiving and throughout the entire holiday eating season. So starting with Thanksgiving, it is nothing but eating all the way through the 12th day of Christmas. And we all go through those many stages of, oh, I love this. Yes, I could have more. I think I could have more. I feel full, but I want more. And then, don't make me eat. I'm ready again. So that's me. Frank is me. I am Frank. I am seen.
Wonderful. I hope it's not just turkey being shoved down your throat over a very limited time period.
No, I do get to have a little bit more diversity of foods, but let's remember that he did get to have a Cesar Romero salad for one of his courses. It wasn't all turkey for Frank either.
There you go. The King Dinosaur turkey, which was served around breakfast time, was served like cereal in a bowl with milk poured on top of it. I don't eat turkey and haven't eaten turkey since before MST3K was a thing. So, I don't remember, but that sounds gross.
I mean, gravy is essentially meat juice with some sort of a dairy product or something else to thicken it up. So really having turkey with milk is sort of like having it with gravy, but I don't know, maybe I'll have some turkey with milk this year and report back next time.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear how your family reacts to you pouring milk on top of your turkey.
I would make that sacrifice for our dear listeners. Okay. Take that for the team.
Oh, I forgot to mention the premiere, the first episode, the Beatniks. There's a short attached to that.
Which one?
General Hospital Part 2.
No! Will Dr. Phil get back together with Nurse? Yes, it's going to be great. I mean, you just need a little organ music to go with your organ meats.
We also got some new little ads on the Satellite of Love with Crow no longer dressed as a turkey.
That's true. And GPC actually talking.
She gets it to say a few lines. It's true. That's good. These are fine, but not as memorable as the 91 bumpers I found. So
it's true.
But that's why they included the 91 ones, and they knew they had those in the back pocket, so it's fine.
Totally.
It's all fine.
Well, it seems like they filmed a lot less of them.
Well, they had a lot less money from Comedy Central to make it. So
they did get to sing the Try to Kill You with a Forklift song again, though.
They did get to sing that.
That's always important. So you actually got things that tie tied into the movies that they were watching. They got to do the Alamo.
They did.
Just like we did when we recorded our episode on Wild Rebels. We were totally doing the Alamo. And if we weren't, we are now in my memory.
So yeah, there were a few of these for Turkey Day 91, but in 92, you had a lot more of the people on board the Satellite of Love saying, hey, you're watching this episode. Here's a few references to it, which are fine. They're not as funny as Turkey Fact number 12, but they're still perfectly nice.
Well, and it's nice because you know that they're specific to that marathon and they're not going to be something that can be recycled inside of the future. And there's something really nice about that, to be like, these bumpers are not ones that they could use again without showing the exact same movies in the marathon. So, you know, they feel unique to that Turkey Day.
Well, and we get even more of that for the next year's Turkey Day.
Yes. Oh my goodness. You're not a big fan of Turkey Day 93.
Well, it's all right. But I mean, okay, Turkey Day 93. So they wanted to have another Turkey Day marathon, but Comedy Central wouldn't give Best Brains enough money to do anything. It was a pitiful amount of money. And Best Brains said, you know what? Actually, no, you can figure something else out. So they did. So a woman named Debbie Tobin, who used to work part-time for Best Brains, it seems like.
Oh.
I don't know. It's
okay.
Information is a little bit sketchy. Anyway, she was at this point active on AOL in the Misty community. And
Stop
she
it, AOL.
Yeah. Well, it's 93, right?
I know. I forget.
And she was planning to have a Halloween party for the premiere of Mike's first episode, which was on October 30th, 1993.
Uh-huh.
So Halloween costume, people who are in AOL, come out to Edina, Minnesota and hang out at my house and it'll be fun. Well, Comedy Central heard about this and asked if they could tape it and offered to cater it as part of, her trouble.
Sounds like a cool thing. I mean, I'm sure everybody had to sign a whole bunch of stuff as well.
Well, I don't know if they signed things if it was that formal, but Debbie was asked to keep it a secret. So like the 35 people who came across the country to descend on her house did not know about this for the most part.
Oh, huh.
So surprise, there's a camera crew.
Sure, but they would have also had to keep it a secret for like the next 20 some odd days, right? Until Turkey Day actually aired.
Presumably, they were all asked to keep it a secret, and I guess they did, but also the internet was smaller back then, so it was harder for things to leak out.
That's true. Oh my gosh. Could you imagine being that person's friend in Tucson, Arizona, and watching the Turkey Day marathon and seeing your friend on it and then hearing your name shouted out? I would have been on the phone calling long distance, which would have cost me like $1 million right away to be like, oh my God, you're the best friend ever.
Yeah. Apparently, taping this took so long and it involved so many hot lights, even though quite a lot of it is very dark. Nevertheless, there were so many hot lights in the house that all the food that had been brought was ruined.
Oh, that's too bad.
And I've heard rumors, although this is just rumors, that the event may have been a bit too much for Debbie and it may have dampened her enthusiasm for the show.
Oh, no.
Just to have all of these people overwhelming her house and then dealing with everything afterwards. But
that's really too bad, because honestly, that's not the show's fault, right? Like, that was a Comedy Central creation in order to be able to get some Turkey Day bumpers.
Yeah.
I don't know. In my mind, that was such a... If you weren't going to be able to have, like, the actual Satellite of Love doing stuff, that was a really awesome and charming way to do a Turkey Day thing. I enjoyed seeing all of the fans in their geeky costumes. There was more than one master from Manos, the Hands of Fate there. There were a bunch of people in space costumes. You had people dressed in their Gizmoplex worker gear. And you had the super sad child of Debbie who was outside of the house my mom doesn't love me.
Oh, yes.
It was great. It was so much fun and charming. And, you got to interact with fans. And I'm sure there's people across the country who watched Mystery Science Theater 3000 alone because there was nobody else that they knew who liked it. And being able to watch bumpers like that and see this party full of people who loved the show that you love, there really is a charming aspect to that. I enjoyed it.
No, that's certainly the nicest part of it. Also, the kid is crying out unbelievable at his mom dancing and making a fool of herself. Although, the dance moves are great, frankly. That's actually one of my favorite things is they did that. You know what? I was watching this and I was thinking a lot about our discussion of the Little Rascals in our last episode. Because to a certain extent, you've got a bunch of amateurs, right? These are just random people who did not even know they were going to be on TV that day for the most part. And the question is, how do you frame it and how do you prompt it so that you can get responses that are usable for TV? And so there's an aggressive amount of editing in these bits to make it something worthwhile. And even then, you've got people very awkwardly explaining the premises of shows because they're being asked to do it on the spot and and aren't trained in this and didn't know it was going to happen. And they give it their best shot. And it's perfectly fine. Like, I do like the fan energy of it.
Yes, I found it charming. So charming.
It is. But and I certainly don't mind that it happened, but it's I don't know. It's not the same as Turkey Fact number 12.
No, not at all. It's a totally different vibe. Yes, it's very much as if you got to have your fanfic with your favorite characters at the exact same time, right? Because this is in no way created by Best Brains. It's all created very haphazardly by like Comedy Central, but it's these people with their genuine affection for the show, getting together with other people who have a genuine affection for the show and talking about it. And you got the Thanksgiving Day hymn, Turkey Day reprise with them singing the song and being like, because we're the biggest fans and we're together for Turkey Day. So it kind of is being inspired by, the gathering together that people like to do. And it's around a thing that they love.
Yes. No, I agree with all of that. That is all the stuff that I enjoyed about it, for sure.
It's a shame they didn't get to eat the food. That seems unfortunate.
It's a shame that it was so stressful for many of the people involved, and it's a shame that it couldn't have been done in a slightly better way, both in terms of production, like have it somewhere else maybe, or be able to have it be a little better lit and a little higher sound quality. There's one little bumper where a woman is like talking and saying hi to all her family and friends, and the music in the background is so loud in the mix and it starts drowning her out by the end. Like, that's just rude. I don't know.
Yeah, it's true. But all the people around her didn't know she was being interviewed for television.
Everybody there knew what was going on. It was a house with a camera crew.
And that's the other thing that I find so charming about it is it isn't like a big production where they brought people into a soundstage and made a fake house for their fake bumpers, right? Like they didn't try and have inauthentic fans where it was made and created by studios. Like it was actual fans in somebody's real house. And they never did this again, to my knowledge, right?
Right.
And if they did, it would have been a known quantity and it would have been in some ways a fiction. And it just feels so genuine in the watching.
Well, and this is also a bunch of people who knew each other from online, from AOL, getting to meet in person for the first time. And
oh my gosh!
My understanding is that many friendships happened through there, which, may have lasted as long as they lasted and may still be going on today in some cases. But, that in 1993, meeting people on the internet and forming more durable friendships because you're meeting in person was kind of a big thing and kind of startling when it happened.
And really, really new.
Yeah.
Right? Really, really new.
Felt full of possibility.
Oh, Chris, it's like how we met. We met in person one, and then all of our communication had to be like through email and letters and stuff because you didn't call people. It was too expensive.
Exactly. And it was around this time, right? So
it was. It would have been in like, I don't know, 91 or 92. 92 we would have met, so... There you go.
When did you know? That's not true.
No, we would have met in 95. Excuse me. We would have met 2 years after this, not 2 years before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's just There's something really beautiful about a genuine fandom being caught in some authentic way without it being manipulated and changed by some sort of weird studio note. You know, I was charmed by this far more, I think, than I was at the time. But in the rewatch now, it is delightful to have communities come together. And that's what this truly was.
Yeah. I mean, I can't help thinking about the way Comedy Central sort of attached itself to that and maybe didn't do it in the best possible way. But
True.
you're right that the event itself, the Halloween party itself, seems like a lovely thing. And it is nice to be able to have that moment captured.
Yes. Although I remember at the time, like the bumper with Debbie who was dancing on the lawn and everything, like that played leading up to the Turkey Day Marathon all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
She did a good dance.
Yeah. And she was like a genuine, like she was, when they started talking about the contest that they had, because some of the bumpers that are connected to this are based on a contest where somebody sent in postcards and got a big screen TV. That's not Debbie.
No.
The person who won that was not Debbie. And so when they started talking about that, I'm like, oh, this is the lady who hosted the party. And it's like, no, it's a totally different person. Like they milked Debbie way more than they milked this woman who they gave a big screen TV to. And she did bumpers and everything. Like it's not like she was left out, but she just didn't make nearly as much of an impression inside of my memory banks as Debbie dancing on her front lawn and getting to host this awesome party.
But in the footage of her winning the widescreen TV and then bringing it to her house, and I'm thinking, yeah, this is 1993. Let's wait for it. And indeed, the TV is the size of a small church.
Oh my gosh, it is amazingly big. Oh
It
my
is
gosh.
so large. And when they do the bumpers later, they have her sitting in front of it to film it with the, an episode of MST3K on the background so she can introduce Mitchell, and a frame or two of Mitchell is on behind her. And it's like that TV is so enormous and it's so deep because it's not flat screen.
I know.
It's just massive. It's just
There's
3
like
tons.
3 feet of room in front of that TV before you hit the wall. So like, it's almost like she's standing in front of a green screen and they've put something up behind her.
I think that's why I didn't enter that contest. I knew what the right answer was, but it was like, I don't want a widescreen TV. We'd have to get a second house.
No. Oh my gosh. That TV was so enormous. It's amazing how different our TV screens are now. Although now I'm thinking about it, I'm just like, and what do I watch MST3K on now? I watch it on my phone. I don't even go to a big screen TV, and I have one. Oh, what am I doing? I'm doing it wrong, Chris.
Well, those are some of the original Turkey Days. We'll have to do this again soon and cover some of the later Turkey Days, including the Adam West year.
Yes, I do love me some Adam West.
But until then, what part of the Turkey Day meal are you most looking forward to?
Oh, I'm looking forward to the turkey and gravy and the apple pie chaser. Turkey gravy, apple pie chaser. That's what I want for Thanksgiving. How about you?
Because I'm vegetarian, I typically don't have turkey for Thanksgiving, but I do make a butternut squash mac and cheese bake that is very good. And because I also get to celebrate Canadian Thanksgiving, I get to make it more than once a fall. So I win.
You do. Hands down.
All right. Well, happy Turkey Day, everybody
Happy
listening.
Turkey Day.
Gobble, 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 gobble.
Gobble, gobble.